Yeah, all right, Asa, the comedian. I saw your video. I was just thumbing through racism videos on YouTube, and I've made quite a few myself on that topic, and I ran across your video, and I went ahead and played it, and I dug the questions, man. Instantly, I felt like, yeah, I want to answer this. So I didn't want to do the typing, so decided to make a video to answer your questions, and I hope that they can be considered, my answers. Okay, well, let's get on with it.
Question number one: is it possible for black people, African Americans, to be prejudiced, to exhibit racist behavior?
Oh boy, let's see. Can black people be prejudiced in order to exhibit racist behavior? Well, black people can be prejudiced every day. They're doing it now. Black people can be prejudiced. Black people can discriminate. Black people can dislike. Black people can hate. But all of these purposes in order to exercise racist behavior, no. Black people cannot be racist, especially in this country, because we have an illusion of racism where everyone thinks that it's really about disliking another people of another race or another creed, and it's not. Racism is not that at all. Racism is an economic tool, and black people are in no economic position to be racist in this country. Every time black people started a community building up their economic status, it got tore up, or it got shut down, or it got burned down. Perfect example, Black Wall Street. Well, so to sum up the answer for that question, yes, black people can be prejudiced, but no, not for the purposes of racist behavior, because black people cannot be racist at all.
Question number two: have you experienced unwarranted, undeserved bigotry from an African American black person? And if you have, briefly in the comment box, let me know what happened. I'm doing a social experiment, damn it, and don't care if someone doesn't like it.
There was a time, there was a certain time out, this lady I was dating, this sister, and we were together checking out the tube and whatnot, and she made a comment about a certain movie. The name of the movie is Time Traveler's Wife. She completely gave it just a bad review, because she said that the man in the movie was exercising pedophile behavior. Well, I've seen the movie, and I thought the movie was, pretty good, pretty decent story, because that's what I look at when I look at movies. I check out how the story goes. But anyway, she stood adamant on that, and I pointed out to her that there was no pedophile behavior that was displayed in the movie. Now, check it out. The man in the movie, the time traveler, so to speak, he would travel throughout time, future and past, at any given time. Well, in this movie, he was able to travel back into the past and visit with his wife while she was a little girl. Now, it's obvious in the movie that he has an undying love for his wife. I mean, undying love. And so, being a man, I can understand that feeling. I can understand that state of mind. So no matter how you look at your wife, whether she's a little girl, a teenager, or a grown woman, you're going to have a look of love for her regardless. It's going to show if you love that woman. And that's just hypothetical speaking, but still, but anyway, there was no pedophile behavior displayed. He didn't touch his wife inappropriately as she was a little girl. He didn't present himself to her inappropriately while she was a little girl. It was nothing like that. There was no display of pedophile behavior. And she stood adamant on the fact that that's what it was doing. And I agree that, there are some very sick things that are on entertainment right now that are being displayed, and very, very sick. But I don't think that counts as one of them, because of the way the story went and the fact that pedophile behavior was not displayed. Now, if I had seen that, especially in more than one occasion, I would have agreed with her. But, I let it be known that she was practicing bigotry because she wouldn't be moved. It's my opinion and I'm sticking with it. It's my opinion, this, So, yeah, that was being big. She was being a bigot on that because she did not want to be practical. She did not want to give any leeway to the fact that it was true that there was no pedophile behavior displayed. It was true that this man had an undying love for his wife. So he didn't try to make love to a little girl. He didn't even touch her or act any kind of way inappropriately towards her. So I believe she was being a bigot. Alrighty, next one.
Question number 3, and this is only for African Americans. Do you feel, I know some of y'all won't be able to answer but 1 and 2, and that's fine. Do you feel, as a black person, because our ancestors went through slavery in this country, that makes us exempt from being labeled a racist or a bigot? That gives us an automatic ghetto pass to call white people the C word and Hispanics, whatever. We just get a pass. Do you feel, because of slavery, that we automatically, as descendants of those slaves, that we get a ghetto pass?
Do I feel that we should be given a pass or we should be exempt from being a racist? Well, I already answered, pretty much covered that racist part. Black people cannot be racist. For any black person that believes that we can be racist has not taken a good look at history and has not actually studied what racism really is. I mean, there's the definition that's in the textbook, or should I say in the dictionary. Yeah, but that is very misleading because racism is an economic tool. It was exercised economically, not because they hate us. Now, you have post-Civil War where the Klan came into play, and then racism took on a whole another avenue because the ISM was placed at the end of race once slavery was ended. I believe it was 10 or 15 years later, around 1878 or 1880, was when the ISM came into play, and classification was taken very seriously. It was around that time. So black people using slavery as a pass, that would mean any black person that does that is kind of ignorant. They're exercising some ignorance there because they don't know the history. The history of this country, the history of the inception of this country's inception is very important. Slave history is very important. If people don't know it and they just read a few things here and there or saw a couple of movies and think they know what happened during slavery, they don't know. Now, a real good account was a book written by a woman named, I think, Madeline Stowe or Harriet Beecher Stowe. That was her name. Harriet Beecher Stowe. She wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. That was a powerful book. And it really gave a good account of what slavery was like. But it was a story. But she showed things that was actually going on. And that book was pretty much a trigger for the Civil War. But you see, the thing about that is that, guess what? The book was just so powerful because it told so much truth that the name Uncle Tom took a complete different appeal over the years. And so now we call sellout brothers and sisters who sell out, we call them Uncle Toms. Because guess what? Somebody started that back when that book came out. In other words, they did that to dummy down that book. And how many times have black people been in that situation where the truth was standing out and it got dumbed down and the meaning of it got switched around? Think about it. If this country can change the perception of the word Uncle Tom or the name Uncle Tom, why can't they change the perception of racism? And by you being in comedy, perception is very important. I know you take perception seriously. So the history of this country and the history of slavery has to come into play. And I can't afford to entertain an illusion. I just can't do it. I got to look at this thing realistically. I know quite a bit about racism. I know quite a bit about slavery. I know quite a bit about this country's true history. Black people didn't have any say. We had no say in the way the rules and the regulations were set up in this country. We didn't have a say in it. And we are living strictly by white definition, white people's definition of freedom, white people's definition of equality. And then you take another look at our communities. Every time we tried to get our communities up and running, guess what? Here comes white people changing the rules and the regulations or stifling us in some kind of way. And Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, perfect example. And I've already mentioned that. But here's my thing. Black people were never treated for slavery. We never got acknowledged. We never got a national apology for it. I mean, my goodness, it's just thrown in the back. But look how much the Holocaust is thrown up in our faces, and we're supposed to treat it with value, when what we went through was 100 times worse than the Holocaust. 100 times worse. But it's thrown, somewhere back in the back. Yeah, that's the past. Not even properly considered. But they honor the hell out of the people that survived the Holocaust, even though that was a bad account. But it does not compare to what we went through, especially when you consider the Middle Passage. Now, our people had no say in the Declaration of Independence. Our people did not have a say in the Bill of Rights or the Constitution. And our people were thrown into a crabs in the barrel type of atmosphere to survive. And for every one of us that made it out of that barrel, guess what? We had to deal with white supremacy. We had to deal with white rulership no matter where we went. That's what we had to do. So your question is kind of unfair, but I understand why you asked the question. But are black people using slavery as an excuse? I can't say yes or no. I'm guessing that there are some that do, and I'm guessing that they are ignorant, that they don't know the history. White people labeling us as racist and black supremacists and all that, that's just cowardly behavior to me. That's white people just running away from their guilt. Because, see, when you bring up the truth, no matter what the topic is, most white people don't deal with that truth. They don't face it. They don't discuss it. They completely divert the direction of the argument or the debate, so to speak. They don't want to deal with it. And then when you think about it, the majority of the people in this country have adopted white perception. Because they're looking at, you'd be surprised how many black people look at slavery the same way white people do. That's a problem. That's a mental problem right there. So there's a lot to be considered. Slavery, you can't, it's kind of hard to use it as an excuse when, if people don't know what really happened. So, I think white America owes black America a serious apology for slavery. I think white America owes black America a hell of a lot because of slavery. A hell of a lot. No, you can't just dismiss it, man. I'm sorry. You want to dismiss slavery, but then hold the Holocaust up on a pedestal? I'm sorry, that don't work. That don't fly with me. It's unacceptable. So black people, we still have a long way to go. And what we need to do is study, learn our history. Once we learn our history, then we're in better shape. Shalom, brother. And, and thank you for asking those questions, man. And I feel real privileged answering the questions. I hope I answered them real good. And if you want to discuss it more, just hit me up.